Hey, it's Juan in PSL. If you didn't get enough about my WBC Rant, the baseball classic, as it's called, I got a little more for you. I don't think it's fair multi-millionaires are playing. They should let the kids play, give the kids a chance, no matter what country they represent. Even the U.S., I don't think multi-millionaires should be taking up those spots. They should be there only on an honorary basis if they want to be there. They should not be taking up a roster spot. As I mentioned in my previous videos, I don't know if they're limited in how many spots they have per team, but my feeling is that they're taking the limelight away from somebody that could be, a promising star, up and coming, whatever term you like to use. And they got their multi-millionaire contracts, and they shouldn't be clogging up the team. If anything, they should be donating $1 million per multi-millionaire to their country in somewhere that it can be traced as. I know it's, a taxable donation. You get to write it off your taxes. You get to feel good about your taxes. If you look at the news, some of these countries, not all, but some of these countries, there's people, a lot of people struggling. And if you donate a minimum of $1 million donation, you can either build a whole lot of $50,000 homes that would change people's lives forever. And I'm just talking about doing one WBC. There's some of these guys that have played multiple WBC tournaments, Caribbean tournaments, stuff like that. I think they can change their town for the better. If the town needs a power plant, a water distribution plant, they got enough good homes, but they need other, I'm not saying their $1 million is going to fix the whole town, but I'm saying it goes a long way towards helping people that may live under the poverty level. The middle class person is going to make ends meet. He's going to buy his own generator. He's going to buy his own supplies. They're going to make do. They could use the help too, but they're going to make do. But I'm talking about if you want to have a substantial relief in your community, now that you left and you have this multi-million-dollar contract, you can make a big difference. Like I said, I'm not saying tackle the biggest projects that the government's supposed to be handling, but in a lot of these countries, including ours, we have a lot of corruption. So the money might be there, but it doesn't get to where the people need it because of all the corruption and all the stealing and same thing. But, just think about it that way. Your money, you ensure that you hire a contractor to build you a series of $50,000 homes. In some places of the world, that's a nice home, adequate home, stable home, maybe all out of concrete blocks so that when the hurricane comes, the damage is less. If they need, $1 million project to shore up the wall near the levee or the whatever, so it doesn't flood in the same place every single hurricane season, something like that. Your $1 million, and I'm nothing against multi-millionaires. You earned the money in most cases. Teams paid you the money to play the sport. In most cases, you're a star. You can make that by doing, in the old days we called it a Wheaties commercial. You can make that by just simply doing a Wheaties commercial. So come on. You're making, you're in a 1% as far as money made. And then 99% of the people live, they don't make a fraction of what you make, throughout their whole lifetime. There's guys here that were making $30-40 million a year. If they donate that minimum $1 million being tax deductible, they're still gonna have steak for dinner if they want it. This doesn't affect their lifestyle. They probably won't even feel it. And then the guys in the $300 million range, maybe they'll step up and say, hey, I got more money. I can donate $2 million. It doesn't have to be $1 million max. I'm just saying it has to be $1 million minimum. And that's just to represent your country. I don't agree with any of those guys. And they know who they are. They go there to show off to the kids. Come on. Some kid is showing up on a bicycle and their relatives are dropping them off because they don't have a ride, and you're showing up in your Mercedes or whatever high class vehicle you have. You can tell. And then the teams are giving it equipment. These kids deserve that equipment. If they don't ever make it to the world stage in baseball, at least they'll have this memory that they played in the World Baseball Classic 1 or 2 times, and they tried their dream. You give them a shot at their dream, just like when you were up and coming, unless you were like somebody that everybody knew at a very young age, you were going to be a star. Everybody else, you kind of had a hustle for this. You worked out all the time, and you worked on your mechanics, and you worked on your physical fitness, and you worked on your, not hurting yourself, injury prevention, I guess it's called. And I'm just saying, there's so much you have invested in your life. I truly believe you deserve those multi-millions. I just say, give the kids a chance. Look within and give those kids a chance. There's every roster spot that you occupy, you're blocking some kid from reaching the world stage. Even if it's just that week or that month or whatever the period is for the World Baseball Classic. Even if it's, for my country, United States or Team Puerto Rico or any team, it doesn't matter. I'm not picking on a country. I'm just saying, regardless of what country you come from, the most impressive team to me as a lifelong baseball fan, I think it was Team Czechoslovakia. One guy was a pitcher. One guy was a teacher. One guy was a plumber. And I'm sure there's other ones that are positions that have come to mind. They played this game, they weren't good enough for the majors for whatever reason. And that's okay. But you know what? They stood tall. They played against, they'll have stories to tell their grandchildren. You're denying these guys from that. Yeah, because, Team Czechoslovakia didn't make it out of the first round, if I remember correctly. And I think I feel comfortable saying Czechoslovakia. I think that was the team. I guess I could always go back, or one of you guys can Google it. But my point is, average guys were playing. Yeah, there might have been monsters in the neighborhood as far as physical fitness and everything else, but non-major leaguers were playing for the team. So give these kids a chance. It's not fair. You can still represent your country. Just sit in the stands, and support them. Support whatever country you claim you love. There's one guy that I know that he plays for one country, but he grew up in another. I imagine he's probably cleared that up. I think I heard because he married a Mexican lady, but he's from Cuba. You know, he feels honored to Cuba. I'm honored to Mexico for, you know, whatever reason, which is okay. I mean, you know. And then you have other guys that you had no idea were born in one country, and until they play for him, then you go, oh wow, I didn't know he was that nationality. So there was a handful of guys like that. But getting back to my rant, I understood it in the, I think it was 80s, when Team Cuba and Team Russia was beating up on our college kids. I understood it then. We sent Team USA, the Dream Team. I understood all that. You know, put them back in their place. You want to put professionals against kids. I understood that. But I think for over 20 years now, we could have went back to the original concept, which was amateur and college, minor leaguers, playing in the classic. If Cuba wants to cheat and Russia wants to cheat, you know what? You just get over it. Just go in there and do your best like you did before. It was fine before. It was only unto I know it was in boxing where they beat up on our kids, our college kids, our, you know, non-professional boxers that we sent as part of Team USA. Like I said several times, I understood it. I understood the payback. You know, Dream Team went there and was winning by 40 to 60 points. I understood it. I get it. But that was, you know, that's over 20 years gone by now. Maybe, you know, I have to Google it. I'm sure it's over 20 something years that happened. We proved our point. And then lately, if you think about it, Team USA hasn't been winning by those 40 to 60 point margins they used to win. The rest of the world has kind of caught up as far as talent. And then you got these guys in the NBA that are dominating, that are not Americans. You know, the Luka Doncic and other guys like that. The Greek Freak and other players. But let's get back to WBC baseball. I'll keep saying it. Give these guys a chance. You know, it's coming up. It's probably too late this year. I get it. But I said it last year, and I think I said it the year before. You know, give these guys a chance. You can still donate money to your hometown in the name of the World Baseball Classic, in the name of representing your country, whatever you want to pick. You know, at that level, as a multi-millionaire, you do have a tax firm assigned to you. So you know they're going to write it off. You're not going to feel it. The tax consequences, you'll save money by donating money, and yet you'll look like the big man that you want to look like. You want to look like the star that has the 4 chains and the Mercedes and the Bentley and the Ferraris, and hey, more power to you, man. I'm not going to deny that I wouldn't have the same things if I was in your position as a multi-millionaire. But it doesn't change the fact that major league stars, millionaire stars should not be playing against amateur baseball. That's a form of bullying. Yeah, the other team that you're playing is gonna have their version of a multi-millionaire. I would have to Google it to see if there's any team that, except for a team Czechoslovakia, that didn't have a flat out, you know, guy making multi-millions a year on their roster. But in all fairness, I think all you guys shouldn't be there. All of them. Not by country, not by ethnicity, nothing. It should be amateur baseball like it used to be. baseball deserves, because of the injuries, that's one of my reasons also. The Edwin Diaz injury, as I'm still a New York Mets fan. If you listen to any of my other short videos, I try to isolate a video here and there where I'm talking about the New York Mets because I'm a lifelong fan. I'm a lifelong baseball fan. I used to live and breathe baseball. My dad used to make fun of me when I was a kid. I started about 10 years old, I guess, being a baseball fan. And my dad used to make fun of me when the Mets would lose because I would soak around the house. You know, and I just happened to be a Mets fan in '69 when they won it all. I'm not even sure at that level, at that age, that I even understood that they were world champions. I'm not sure if I understood the concept. I am not sure. I just was a fan. You know, I like throwing the ball around. I like catching the ball. I like dreaming of playing baseball just like every other kid that's a baseball fan. I grew up that way as a lifelong fan over 50-something years. You know, Mets fan. I actually thought about changing teams now that I'm in South Florida to the Tampa Bay Rays or the Miami Marlins. But I'm hanging in there as a Mets fan. As a second team, I would take the Rays. What they have done with as little payroll as they work with over the years is outstanding. It's got to be a credit to the coaches, got to be a credit to the organization, and having a team that's consistently doing well. I mean, even if they don't win the division, they're in the run most of the years. Most of the years they're in the run. You know, and in the way the playoff format is set up, it doesn't mean you're going to get out of the playoffs, but at least, you know, they're in the run. They're in the first or second place most of the years, if I remember correctly. You can't say that about the Mets. The Mets are a heartbreaking team. You know, maybe that's why I stay with them, because they break my heart so much as far as being a fan and you know, following the game. The Marlins have won a World Series more recent than the Mets. You know, you know, when they lost to Kansas City, that was tough to take. You know, I'm then losing to the Dodgers. You kind of understood that in the playoffs. You kind of understood that, you know, when they were playing for the National League pennant. You understood that, you know, they're a powerhouse. They don't hold back. They've been spending money for years. They've had stars for years. You get it. But as far as just normal years, I mean, they in the last 30 years, they've been in the playoffs twice. You know, this is 26, so they were in the playoffs 24. And then they lost after the first round or whatever that was, or was that the year they lost to the Dodgers? Anyway, you know, they made it okay. Not making it last year was a heartbreaker after they were in first place after the first 60, 70 games. You cheering them on thinking, oh man, this is going to be a good year. It looks good. And then, of course, the pitching falls apart and you're left wondering what the heck. And then, you know, guys, you know, for whatever reason, are not playing well. I know a lot of the reasons is injuries. It's come to light after the season that there was some bad feelings in the clubhouse, you know, about players. I didn't hear all the stories, but I did hear people that were making $30 million, 20-something million dollars, $30 million in another case, complaining about the clubhouse atmosphere. You're getting paid a lot of money to be a professional ball player. You're living, that's why we're fans. Think about it. We're fans because you're living our dreams. Those of us that threw the ball around in Little League and dreamed about being a professional player at some point in our life, and those of us that did well in high school and playing baseball, and those of us that, you know, might have walked onto a college field, you know, you're living our dream. We didn't make it, you did. You're getting $20 to $30 million a year to play the game that we dreamed about. Have some respect and honor the game. Okay, the team might have had chemistry issues. I think that's just a synonym for whatever they can't really print what happened. That's okay, that's fine. But it doesn't change the fact that you shouldn't go around talking about the team as if it was a bad situation. It was so terrible being on that team. It was so terrible that they paid me, you know, $30 million a year. I just had to get away from that. It doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound right. You're probably right as far as, you know, the chemistry was messed up and somebody hurt your feelings, somebody called you out for not playing hard, whatever the complaint is. You know, somebody didn't, you know, praise you to the media. You know, there's probably good reasons, but then you fall back on that. Man, you got paid $30-something million to play the game that a lot of us love, and you walk away collecting a paycheck and complaining about, you know, how bad it was. Okay, this is Juan in PSL. Please like and subscribe. I do videos on living in Florida. I do videos on making the transition as a northerner to come down to South Florida and work in law enforcement. And I do videos like this one about being a New York Mets fan. I just chose these last couple of videos to do my WBC rant, which I tell my friends. You know, so I figure I put it on video, let it go out there, see if anybody agrees with me. Please like and subscribe, and I do appreciate your time, appreciate you going to the end of the video, and until next time, we'll talk again. Thank you.